Oh boy, everybody, I promised a big, gigantic Sonic Frontiers full review for this weekend, but a lot of things got in the way of that, and it is over an hour long at this point, so it's taking a little bit longer than I expected. So this week, I honestly did not have a single idea of what to do until I looked at the new game's title, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Frontiers. Tiers, tier list. I could make a tier list because the name is a pun now. Fitting to start with Sonic the Hedgehog being the main character of the game and franchise. In this game, I get to award Sonic the current highest possible honor, the S rank, because in this game, he is a wonderful character who I actually respect again. That's not something I thought I was ever going to say ever again. But everything Sonic does in this game is so cool and so just wonderful and character-driven. He's great. I don't know, my brain kind of wants to go in, like, character appearance order almost, which means we probably should have started with Eggman, but second is Amy Rose. I could just put her in A rank because her name starts with A, but I think people would be upset about that. So C rank for Amy. That hurts a little bit because I think they're really trying at this point, and Amy as a whole is a character that has been sort of been in the process of being reinvented over the last several years. Like, in fact, I think Amy is the only character that wasn't ruined by all of, like, the meta-era stuff. I think she's slowly been getting better, with, you know, ups and downs in the road, of course. But in this game, she's still kind of on the journey to getting to be a good character, but, you know, not, like, F rank or anything. Knuckles, the homie, the rival, is back. Ever since Sonic Movie 2, I feel like everybody sort of realized, hey, wait a minute. Knuckles is supposed to be cool, not a fool. Rhymes. I kinda had given up on Knuckles because they made him into just a big idiot. But in Frontiers, Knuckles is an entirely different beast. He is, like, prime Knuckles. Like, this is very good Knuckle. If you liked him in the Sonic movie, you'll like him here. If you liked him in the Adventure series, you'll like him here. If you like Knuckles, this is a good game for you. Tails. Tails is B rank. It's sort of a similar reason to Amy, except not the betterment of the character. He's definitely getting some good development in this game. They made him very self-aware of a lot of things, which is really interesting, which I liked a lot. The only reason I put him in B versus A is I think too much of his dialogue in this game was spent just, like, not really saying anything. There was a lot of just, like, science-y mumbo-jumbo cutscenes, stuff like that. But the cutscenes where he was being a real character, whew. Can we go with Sage next? I think that makes the most sense. And Sage, like the first letter of her name, see how that whole joke works in my head? I think of that every time I'm making a tier list because I'm the funniest man alive. Sage is S tier, no doubt about it. Sage is an amazing new character for this game and franchise, and just a character that I wasn't expecting to like so much, just with all the parallels to Infinite before release, you know, like the black and red color scheme, the edgy nature, the sort of like cyber-y powers, whatever they were gonna do. People were just like, there must be a connection there, and that obviously made me nervous because Infinite is probably one of the worst characters in the franchise. But Sage is such an insane 180 from that character, and just from everything in the past. Like, Sage might be the Sonic character. Like, one of the best Sonic characters in the entirety of the franchise. Because of one game, and that's insane to me. Big the Cat, I don't really know if it's fair to even have him on this list, because he's just kind of thrown in for the fishing minigame. He's fine. I think, actually, you know what, no Froggy appearance, I'm tempted to put him in F tier, but I think I'm just gonna put him in C, because, like, he's just a dude hanging out doing his own thing. And now he actually looks tiny next to Amy. That's actually pretty funny. Big the Cat, more like not so Big the Cat. Dr. Eggman. Sorry, he got beheaded at some point, but that doesn't mean he's any less intelligent or any less A rank. This guy, my goodness. There are so many optional things in this game that you don't have to ever see, and most of them have to do with Dr. Eggman. And if you don't go find all 24 of his egg memos, you're missing out on some of Mike Pollock's, like, best lines as Eggman, I have to say. Like, he sounds so real. Like, he sounds like someone deep in contemplation in these memos. And like, I don't know, Mike Pollock just really, really nails it in this game. Like, the entire game through, I think this might be one of my favorite Mike Pollock Eggman performances. I'm also really surprised by his character in this game because they do, like, a father-daughter thing with him and Sage, and I just never really expected to get that kind of emotion out of a character like Dr. Eggman, at least in the games. You know, he's had characters that he cares a lot about, like, you know, in the comics or whatever. Like, he's very protective of Metal Sonic or whatever, and he's always fixing him, and he calls him his boy and stuff. Like, to me, I thought that was just some, you know, auxiliary material fan fiction stuff, like the whole Eggette omelet thing for Sonic Mania. Like, there was never gonna be like a family tie to Eggman that we would see in real time, because obviously Maria and Eggman never met, I don't think. And plus, they never interact in the games. So yeah, I think he's best summed up with one of his older lines.
I'm a complicated guy.
Supersonic's not really a separate character, but I think he's easily S tier because he's the best he's ever been in any game that we've seen him in. Like, it doesn't matter what game you pick, I don't think Supersonic has just the amount of spectacle and power that he does here. Like, we took Supersonic from being a guy that, like, has a bunch of rings and slowly counts down and can slam his face into a robot, sort of like Sonic does, to this guy just pulling out crazy, like, anime moves. Like, he's got, like, the after images attacking things, and he's got, like, oh my god, he's got, like, the power of, like, 100,000 hedgehogs or something. Like, you could just take Wyvern and wah! This guy is something else in this game, and I think every time he is on screen, it's probably some of the best times in the entire game. I got a couple more characters here. I think Coco would be an easy one next. I'm gonna throw them as a whole in the B category. I did like that the Coco were around and they were integrated into the gameplay and the story, because you were collecting them to bring back to Elder Coco, but they were also being helped by Sonic's friends because they felt like a weird, like, kindred spirits thing. Cocos are very adorable. I like the weird little chimey noises they make, but they're just, I don't know, they're just kind of there. I think I like Chow better a little bit, but I definitely like these guys more than Wisps, I'll say that. I wish they had a little bit more variation in, like, their shapes of their bodies, though. Like, Elder Coco and Hermit Coco, like, I wish all of the Cocos kind of ranged from, like, different sizes and stuff like that, but anyway. Coco are cool. Elder Coco, uh-oh. Elder Coco is actually our only F tier character, I believe. And it's not because I hate the guy. I actually really love this design, and I especially love how he looks like he just was, like, eating a giant bowl of, like, green soup or something, and it's all stuck on his face. Like, that's adorable. I love him. But the fact that you go to him, and without the mod for it, it takes forever to level up your stats one by one by one, just slow as possible. Yeah, that's awful. And since he doesn't do anything else in the entire game, yeah, that's an F tier. Hermit Coco, on the other hand, I'm gonna put with the regular Coco in B tier. I like this guy's design a lot. I don't know what it is about the moss facial hair. Like, that's super, super cool, and also, he just levels up your shit immediately. Like, you don't even need to play around. Like, you could skip the cutscene and everything. This guy's a legend. I love this guy. The Ancients. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna throw them in A tier. Not because his name starts with A, but because it's, like, just hear me out. The Ancients were a plot point I just didn't see coming. Like, I wasn't expecting ancient civilizations, because Rise of Lyric kind of did that, and I didn't really think it was a part of the main series. But apparently, they were just like, hey, we're gonna do the Ancients, and we're gonna make them look like Chaos, and they're gonna be aliens from another planet who brought the Chaos Emeralds from that other planet, meaning they're from another planet. Oh my god, like, what the hell? Where? So many questions. I have so many questions about the Ancients and the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald now. You have no idea. Next week in the video, I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I want to drive in the point that I have a large video about this coming out soon. We're getting kind of low on characters here, but I guess we're going to do the Titans. Giganto S tier. This guy is amazing. I think showing him in the marketing was a really good idea. They have that really, really nice CGI trailer of Sonic going super and flying up to Giganto. He was in that other trailer with Sage. Like, I think he's a very intimidating presence, and it's really, like, only up from here because the designs keep getting cooler. Wyvern, you're gonna think I'm a sucker, but, like, Wyvern's also S tier. I think Wyvern might be the best fight in the game. It's definitely my favorite and the most fun, in my opinion. And also the design, are you kidding me? That shit is so cool. Like, look at this thing. It's like, if you saw that in real life, like, you would have seen it in real life. Like, it's insane. Knight is our third Titan, and I think I'm going to put him... Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't really know. I guess Knight could be A rank. I think Knight is a pretty good boss fight. I think its design is sick. I love the buzzsaw shield and the giant sword and what happens during that fight. But the fight itself isn't super fun. Like, I think it's one of the lower end Titan fights. But then again, Supreme is actually a little bit lower than that as well, despite the very grandiose sounding name. I think it might be a fault with just how the game works that Supreme turned out to be a little underwhelming. Like, this is the secret surprise 4th Titan. It's a big part of the ending and the final battle. But the thing about it is, once you get to this point in the game, if you've been upgrading your stats the entire time, Supreme just, like, falls apart like soggy paper. And I know some people might not have that exact same experience. I don't think I went too out of my way to upgrade things. In fact, I kind of forgot to do it a lot, and then I would just go to a place, have my stats upgraded, and then forget about it again for a while. So, like, I think on a standard-ish playthrough, by the time you get here, nothing is really going to pose that much of a challenge, which is a shame. Here we have the Guardians. These things were a little bit difficult because there are a lot of them. I think I wanted to just put them all into one category because as a whole, I really think Guardians are an A-tier thing because in the video I mentioned, I thought there were only going to be a couple. You know, there were going to be like 3, 4 of these things. They were going to repeat them all over the place. But every island has their own specific Guardians and also adds old ones with higher difficulty. And I think that was a really good call. Like, having a lot of unique Titans, like, I remember where they're all from, I remember how to fight them because all the fights were very memorable. Sure, there were a couple I didn't like very much, but I think, like, on average, these things are definitely amongst the A ranks. I kind of forgot about this boss just now. I was gonna do all the bosses in a row, but like, looking at this, it doesn't even look like a boss fight. And yeah, this is the end. This is the final boss that you fight after Supreme if you're on hard mode. I was wrong. This is actually going to be an F tier because I think most of that stuff that happens right at the end is a lot worse than everything that happens more towards the beginning. I think once you get to the end, things happen way too fast, and this villain, spoiler, which is also the voice that's talking to Sonic throughout the entire, like, journey, while I do like that it's set up like that, it just really, like the concept of the end of all things being the final boss of this game is very big to wrap your head around when it just comes out of nowhere. Like, I know there's this gigantic destructive force that's attacking the Ancients and we know something bad's out there, but, like, we know so little about it by the time we get to the fight that they just have, like, a Galaga match while the thing dumps exposition at you, and I do like how ominous it feels. I wish they had had this sprinkled through the story more like, you know, other lore. You know, that would have made this a lot scarier to, like, finally come across this. Now we just have some gameplay stuff. The Chaos Emeralds, God, there's a lot of S tiers in this because this game's pretty good. Chaos Emeralds as a whole, I think, are wonderful. They're not too annoying to obtain like in some games, and the fact that they're really central in the story this time, and we learn about their origins and, like, some stuff behind the scenes with them, that's amazing. I really want to know even more at this point, and I know I was saying this with the Ancients, but there are so many questions I have with these things now. Like, why are Sonic and Shadow and Knuckles and all these guys able to use the emeralds, like, with their bodies if these emeralds are from another planet, right? Like, you would think maybe they wouldn't be compatible or something. Like, I just want to know, like, what is going on with this stuff? What were they cooking? And finally, this is cyberspace. I'm putting all the stages together because as a whole, cyberspace is very, very rough. And I'm sorry to say that. I do want to immediately throw it into F tier, but I also don't feel like all of them deserve that. I think some of the stages are actually kind of good, and people are gonna kind of roll their eyes when they hear this, but it's mainly like the SA2 stages that feel really good. I don't know, the design is just much stronger there. There are some other of, like, the later on reused stages, though, that do feel pretty good to run through really quickly. So I'm very caught in between C and F. If only there was some middle ground I could... Oh, wait. Yeah? I guess? I don't know why D wasn't on there in the first place. Alright, I feel a little bit silly, actually, now in retrospect. But D rank, I think, fits cyberspace pretty well, because it's definitely, like, basically flunking, but some of those stages are really nice. And I think that's gonna do it for this weird tier list. You can also kind of look at this as, like, my opinion on the game overall. You can see, like, oh, these are all the concepts, all the things that I thought of when I was going to make this tier list. These are the things I would talk about in the big video that'll come out next week, and this is kind of how I feel about things, so mainly positive. I'm sure that's a bit of a surprise coming from me, but miracles do happen.